Well, yesterday was opening day. That was super depressing. The fact that it was a beautiful day out here in New York City and I had to stay inside or at least sit outside by my apartment and couldn't be watching live baseball. But today, the day after opening day, we actually got some news about Major League Baseball, the 2020 season, what we can look forward to going forward, and what's going to be happening in regards to the season, how many games are going to be played, service time. A lot of questions got answered today. So I'm here to tell you all the details, all the information that I've seen throughout Twitter, ESPN, The Athletic, everything that I could find. Gonna give it to you guys, give you my thoughts and opinions as I always do on this channel, so that way you guys can stay informed. And I need to talk baseball as much as physically possible. I think we figured that out. So as always, if you guys do enjoy this video and if you are excited for the MLB season to come back, make sure to leave a like. That's the best way to show your support. Remember to subscribe to the channel if you are new and you enjoy the content. We're trying to hit 150K by opening day. That seems very realistic considering what we're about to talk about. Remember to get in the comment section down below. Give me your thoughts and opinions on everything I'm going to talk about in today's video. Do you think the Major League Baseball season comes back? If so, when? And last but not least, make sure you're following me on Twitter and Instagram at GiraffeNeckMarc. Links in the description. Always talking baseball over there. So the last couple days, Major League Baseball, the Players Association, they've been in talks about what to do in regards to the 2020 Major League Baseball season, how they're going to handle service time, salaries, arbitration. Those have been like the huge talking points thus far between the owners and the players recently. And it makes sense. I mean, those are probably the most important things to figure out with the 2020 season. Completely forget the idea of even playing a game. Let's just talk about if the season's canceled. Like, you need to know what's going to happen with players like Mookie Betts, Trevor Bauer, JT Realmuto, Marcus Stroman. Do these guys become free agents, or do their contracts not necessarily count because they didn't play this season? Everything that goes on in this 2020 season has an impact on the following year, whether you want to believe it or not. So even if this season, for some reason, let's please hope this doesn't happen, but if for some reason the 2020 season doesn't get played, there needs to be something in place, or at least a system in place, so that you know what's going to happen in regards to players, salaries, arbitration, service time. All that kind of stuff needs to be covered, so they wanted to make sure they got that. So there's really like three big things to talk about with this whole like MLB owners and players association agreement that happened for the 2020 season. First is going to be playing time, like what's going to go on with the season, when's it going to start, how many games, when are they going to start. Second's going to be about service time, so what are players' service time going to be if the season's canceled, what it's going to be like if the season's shortened. And then the third big thing is going to be the MLB player draft, because there's some crazy stuff going on with that. So let's start off with the season. When is it going to start? All the information we have about that, because that's probably what you guys care about the most. You want to know when baseball's coming back just as much as I do. So right now, there's no official date as to when Major League Baseball is going to come back, and that's smart. You can't make an official date right now. Things are changing day by day in this country going on with the virus, and we want to make sure that if you give a date, that's the date when you're going to be coming back, because if you give one and you don't come back, I mean, that's just like, that's going to suck for everybody. So right now, the Major League Baseball season will not start until the following happens. There are no bans on mass gatherings that would limit the ability to play in front of fans. However, the commissioner could still consider the use of appropriate substitute neutral sites where economically feasible. So that basically tells us that the players, the teams, the owners, they don't want to have games until fans can be in the seats. Now, there is a caveat. Jeff Passan clarified this on Twitter. He did a really good job explaining it. Let's say teams like the New York Mets or the Seattle Mariners. Right now, New York, Seattle, those are the epicenters for what's going on in this country right now. They probably have the most cases. I don't think it's realistic to think that the Mets, the Yankees, the Mariners, teams that are in these huge cities with a lot of cases, that it's realistic that even when the season does start, they're going to be able to play in their home city. So you got to find a neutral site, because they want to get fans to the games. They want to make sure that people can be in the stands to watch it and that it's safe. And as of right now in New York, it's probably not safe to do that. Now, of course, this is way down the line because there's more information as to tell you when the game will start. But again, the CDC, there's at least like May 15th, I think, is kind of the target date when like they gave the 8 weeks of no more mass gatherings. That's the best case scenario. Worst case scenario, we could be looking who knows how long, but probably June is realistic for like an opening day. Best case scenario. Worst case scenario, we don't have anything, but maybe July. But back to the whole idea of playing in front of fans. They want to play in front of fans, the players, the owners, everybody, more revenue. I mean, it just makes sense. But there is a possibility still, as much as they say they don't want to play in front of no fans, if it seems like there's no other option, they will play in neutral sites or they'll play in front of no fans, which personally for me right now, whatever gives me baseball, whatever brings my life back to normal the quickest, that's what I want. If that means an entire Major League Baseball season with no fans at the games, I'm completely okay with it. Yes, it means that the atmosphere is completely worse. And if you've been watching the Japanese or the Korean games, it does have a bit of an eerie feel. There's echo, you hear everything going on in the field. It would definitely be a worse product, but right now I am craving baseball, and if getting baseball back quicker means not having fans in the stands, I'm completely okay with it. I got Crohn's disease. I probably can't be going to games to begin with when they get the season started anyway, because I have a sort of weakened immune system. So I mean, to me, I'm not going to games for a while to begin with anyway. Give me baseball, give me empty stadiums if that's what it takes. Hopefully we can just go to games and nothing is changed. It's just like the old days. days. But if for some reason they need to play the season in front of no fans or some games in front of no fans, sign me up. I'm in. I just want to watch baseball. And I feel like a lot of you will agree. I don't know. I'm interested to see what you think in the comments down below. There's other stipulations though before they can start playing as well. There are no travel restrictions throughout the United States and Canada. Of course, that makes sense because Major League Baseball is a national and actually international sport. You have the Toronto Blue Jays in Canada. You have teams in different states all across the country. Part of the Major League Baseball season is traveling. And if they cannot travel, obviously you cannot be playing games. I feel like this one's super straightforward. I don't feel like I need to explain it too much. The New York Mets, if they don't want to travel, I mean, what? You get to play the New York Yankees, that's about it. Or maybe like the Phillies because you can drive. But if you can't be flying places or even like taking interstate travel, you can't be playing Major League Baseball. So this one makes sense. I completely agree with this. If there's travel restrictions, how are you going to be able to do these games? And then the last stipulation they have here has to do with medical experts determine that there would be no health risk for players, staff, or fans, with the commissioners and unions still able to revisit the idea of playing in empty stadiums. So again, it kind of brings into the entire thing I said again about empty stadiums, which I think is probably realistic. I think we're going to see a lot of games in empty stadiums this year, which that sucks, but I feel like that's a realistic possibility. And the idea of making sure there's no health risk for players, staff, fans, I mean, I feel like that's very straightforward. First and foremost, the biggest thing to take out of this right now is we need everyone to be healthy, safe. You don't want to put anybody's lives in danger. You don't want to put players, staffs, the fans. Imagine going to a game and you get sick and something bad happens. That would be the worst possible thing that could happen right now. So make sure everybody gets healthy, make sure everybody is safe. That's the number one priority, and I love that Major League Baseball and the Players Association is taking that stance. As badly as I want baseball, if it's going to put people's lives in danger, that's silly. It's just a game at the end of the day. Come back to 2021. But again, that's a nightmare scenario. I mean, I don't want that, but if that was considered the best possible way to keep everybody safe and to keep this thing under control, it is what it is at this point. I mean, what are we going to do? So realistically, what do I think? I think the season doesn't have a chance to start probably on June 1st. I think it's probably more realistic that's going to be July, considering all the stuff that we saw, travel restrictions. They want to play in front of fans. They want to make sure that they can have gatherings. I mean, it probably looks like more of a July start than it does June, but boy, oh boy, are my fingers crossed. Do I hope that we somehow get baseball in June? I mean, just even give me like fake spring training in June. Sign me up. I need something. I'm so bored. I'm losing my mind inside all day. I mean, YouTubers, we're built for this kind of stuff. We're built to be inside all day making videos and all this, but the fact that I can't go outside, that's what's driving me crazy. It's beautiful out today. I want to go take a walk, but I can't because, you know, the stuff. Now, in regards to the season, how many games are going to be played, there's a bunch of different options here. They want to play as close to 162 as physically possible, but obviously the later in the season that they start, the harder that's going to be. One way that they're planning on doing this is going to be having weekly doubleheaders, which I'm okay with. I'm in for more baseball. You want to give me a doubleheader once a week? That's what they used to do back in the day, like the 60s and 70s. I think they played doubleheaders. I don't know. Am I dating my dad there? I feel like he tells me he used to watch doubleheaders all the time. But doubleheaders, I'd be in for doubleheaders on the schedule, which of course would mean expanding the rosters probably to 30 players, maybe even to the full 40 man. I'm in. Give me more baseball. This also means probably extending the regular season into October because you definitely need to make up some of the months that you missed already. You're going to be missing the entire month of April and May, so October makes sense. And that also probably means playing the playoffs in November at neutral sites, which again, it makes sense. You can't be playing a game deep in November in New York or Colorado or Chicago, or if somehow the Mariners make it in Seattle or anywhere it gets cold, honestly. It doesn't matter. Anywhere it gets cold, you can't be playing games in November, so you probably play in Marlins Park or at Dodger Stadium or at Chase Field in Arizona, somewhere where it's climate controlled, somewhere where it's nice and hot, where you can guarantee nice weather because you're starting to get snow in November. All that stuff makes sense to me. Like, this is all stuff I agree with. I think that's just what we're going to have to live with for the 2020 season. There's even a thought that to boost revenue and to boost excitement because of a shortened season, they might expand the playoffs for the 2020 season to the 14-team thing that we saw earlier. I hate the 14-team playoff. I think it's unnecessary. But for this season, if there was ever a time to test it out, to try out new things in baseball, 2020 is going to be the year. Like, it's almost like an experiment at this point. This is going to be a crazy season. You want to try a 14-team playoff? Sure. Don't commit to it past 2020, though. That's my only gripe. Don't commit to it past 2020. Now, service time, arbitration. That was kind of another big talking point here. That has to do more with the players and the owners, a lot less with us with the fans, but there's still some interest there, so I'll cover it. Right now, players will receive a full year of service time if the season is canceled. They're going to get the service time based on the amount of days that they were having service time last year in 2019. So a guy like Mookie Betts, JT Realmuto, Marcus Stroman, Trevor Bauer, all those guys would hit free agency the next season. Guys like Noah Syndergaard, anybody who's going to be a free agent in the 2022 offseason, those guys would gain a contract year as well. A guy like Luis Robert would still technically be a rookie in 2021, so he wouldn't lose his rookie status. He wouldn't have any days on a major league roster just yet, but that's only if the season's canceled. If the season goes on like normal, service time goes on like normal. They still haven't fully hammered out all the details about how the games and the days are going to like kind of prorate themselves to fit a full season, but that's kind of something that they're thinking about down the line and they'll worry about later. What really matters is if the season's canceled, players are going to get service time. If the season goes on, players are going to get service time. They kind of of figured that out, and they took what feels like a good stance to me here by allowing players, if the season's canceled, to still be a free agent when they were due. The MLB Players Union agreed not to sue Major League Baseball for salaries because Major League Baseball, I think, put in $170 million to pay players and all these guys for the next couple weeks or months. Players Association is going to divvy up that $170 million to guys who have guaranteed contracts, spread it out all around the league, making sure guys get paid. That makes sense. That's good. And if games are played, their contracts will be prorated to however many games are played for the final amount in the season. So that makes sense as well. Like a guy like Garrett Cole, was he making like $36 million, $35 million a year? Let's say they play 100 games. They're going to prorate that 35 to fit the 100 games. Now, here's the big thing that's getting a lot of people upset, and I completely understand it. It has to do with the first-year player draft and international signing bonus stuff. So the 2020 first-year player draft normally takes place in June. That's obviously going to be postponed with what's going on, and it's also going to be massively different. Normally, there's about 40 rounds in the first-year player draft every single year in Major League Baseball. It's the biggest draft in all sports. It's crazy how many rounds there are, but you got to fill up the minor league systems every year. Well, in 2020, it's going to be 5 rounds. Yes, only 5 rounds. They are getting rid of 35 rounds in the Major League draft this year, which is huge to incoming prospects, huge to incoming players, and it carries huge consequences. This almost fits the agenda of shutting down some minor league teams even more because you're not going to have nearly as many players coming in. It's a really weird scenario. I don't understand why the draft can't just be as long, or at least give me 20 rounds. Why are we cutting it down so much? But it seems like the players really wanted to make sure that those contract years and their service time got used in 2020 no matter what. And this was probably something that they ended up losing on with the Players Association, which doesn't screw over the players now, but it screws over players who are coming into the league. Because a big part of players coming into the league, of course, is signing bonus. Like typically as a rookie, you're not getting paid much when you're getting drafted, but that's signing bonus. That's where you make your money. Well, players drafted in 2020 will only be allowed to get as max a signing bonus of $100,000. And if they want to have bigger signing bonuses, that will be split up throughout the rest of time. But the max is 100 next year, which is definitely less. Not going to be allowed to trade draft picks, not going to be allowed to trade international slot money, which is huge for the trade market. I mean, obviously we saw a lot of international pool money being swapped the last few years. Transactions are going to be freezed until the season starts, which makes sense. So no trades, no free agency right now. That obviously makes a lot of sense to me. There shouldn't be any of that stuff going on. And then going back to the draft, I believe if you're undrafted and signed, you can only sign for a max of $20,000, which is crazy again, because a lot of guys are going to be going unsigned, could be really good major league players. So it's interesting. There's some draft stuff that's going on. A lot of former players and current players, they don't like the situation. That's kind of the hand that they've been dealt with. If you wanted the service time, this seemed like a big bargaining piece for Major League Baseball. This is what you lose, unfortunately. I don't agree with it, but it's not really my decision. I think the good thing to note is that I think that Major League Baseball, the players, I think they're optimistic that the season is going to happen. I'm optimistic the season is going to happen. I don't think it's going to be canceled. I see that there's some people on Twitter and all over the place thinking, oh, this basically means the season is going to be canceled, because how are we really going to get back on track with things in this country before then? I'm very optimistic. I think we're going to get baseball. Maybe it's just me being a little bit crazy, being cooped up inside all this time, but I think baseball is going to happen in 2020. I need it to happen in 2020. I mean, I become a full-time YouTuber talking about baseball, and there's going to be no baseball that year? You got to be kidding me. That can't happen. But yeah, I mean, this is a crazy 2020 year. This year is trash, without a doubt. This is an F tier year, without a doubt. 2020, trash. Can I go below F? Like Z tier, maybe? But we're starting to get some news on the Major League Baseball season for 2020. I'd love to know what you guys think about all the stuff I just went over in today's video. Down in the comment section below. Do you like what you're hearing? When do you think they're going to play? Do you think they'll play? Leave in the comments. Remember to leave a like on the video if you did enjoy it, as well as subscribe to the channel if you have not yet already. Remember to check me out on Twitter, Instagram, Twitch. Maybe I'll make a TikTok one day. I don't know about that. But all of it's GiraffeNeckMarc. Links in the description as always. And I'm going to wrap up the video there. Yeah. Let's do what we always do. YouTube recommends you watch this video as well as this is my most recent upload. So click through those if you have not yet seen them. Thank you guys for watching. I do appreciate you. Stay safe, stay healthy, and yeah, let's get the baseball back as soon as possible.